On a day when secrets smolder and alliances start to splinter, Port Charles becomes a boiling cauldron of guilt, vengeance, and deeply personal reckonings. In the latest developments on General Hospital, the storm begins to form around Natalia Rogers Ramirez, whose personal demons threaten to unravel the careful public image she's crafted. After a heated and devastating fallout with her son, Natalia's self-control spirals. Consumed by shame and emotional volatility, she seeks solace in alcohol, an all-too-familiar coping mechanism that leads her into dangerous territory. The consequences of her recklessness culminate in a reckless act behind the wheel, one that brings law enforcement to her door and threatens to put her already fragile relationship with her son beyond repair. In desperation, she reaches out not to family, but to someone far more calculating and powerful, Jen Sidwell. She knows she's in over her head, and the subtle power dynamic between them, once merely suggestive, now demands repayment. Natalia's admission that she owes him becomes more than a casual comment, it becomes a dangerous transaction. Sidwell, with his characteristic blend of charm and menace, is not the kind of man to forget a favor owed, or to forego an opportunity to collect at the perfect moment. His involvement might keep Natalia out of jail, but it could cost her everything else she values, including the thin thread of dignity she still clings to. While Natalia spirals, another emotional inferno ignites across town. Carly Spencer finds herself blindsided, yet again, by the intricate web of secrets spun by those she trusts most. Her confrontation with Jason Morgan is not just about anger, it's about betrayal. Carly, long accustomed to controlling every narrative around her, is forced to reckon with the fact that Jason, her closest ally, her anchor, has withheld a truth so explosive it could rewrite the emotional landscape of her entire family. Jason's complicity in keeping Michael's secret about the baby, and his involvement with Sasha Gilmore, is not something Carly can easily forgive. But Jason stands firm. This wasn't his truth to tell. He reminds her, in his quiet, measured way, that Michael made a choice, one rooted in love, fear, and survival. It's a difficult pill for Carly to swallow. Her instinct is always to protect, to charge forward like a hurricane. But this time, she is forced to confront an unfamiliar sensation, powerlessness. And in that powerlessness, a deeper realization sets in. Her children are making choices without her, and not all of them are choices she would approve of. Meanwhile, Drew Quartermaine is forced to stare down a haunting truth of his own. After Carly dropped a revelation that shook the foundation of his recent past, that Nina Reeves was the one who drugged him, Drew's initial reaction is stunned disbelief. But as the pieces fall into place, the sickening clarity of the truth becomes impossible to deny. In private confrontation, Nina chooses not to deny the accusation. Instead, she leans into it with an air of weary desperation, warning Drew that retaliating will only make things worse, for both of them. If he drags this truth into the light, they risk alienating Willow forever. Nina's motives, already suspect, now seem entangled in something far more complicated. She knows Drew is already treading a precarious path with Willow, whose heart is still tender from betrayal and layered grief. Nina's plea isn't just for herself, it's a last-ditch attempt to keep her fragile connection to her daughter from shattering completely. Yet the tension between Nina and Drew remains razor-sharp, their mutual distrust an open wound, and the idea that Nina's actions could tie into Portia Robinson's medical choices or other buried secrets only deepens the intrigue. Drew must weigh his hunger for justice against the emotional cost of exposing a truth that could destroy any remaining sense of peace. But amid the chaos and whispered threats, Sonny Corinthos remains a voice of strategic calm. He sees the unraveling tension around Michael, the courtroom battles, the lies, the emotional landmines, and offers a rare moment of clarity to his son. Sonny has always operated in a world where compromise is often the only path to survival, and now he urges Michael to consider a similar approach. The temptation to retaliate against Sasha, especially after her lies jeopardized his case, is immense. But Sonny warns him that scorched earth tactics come with a price. There are children involved, Amelia and Wiley, and the line between justice and revenge becomes ever more blurred when the emotional collateral is so high. Besides, Sasha has already suffered, and continuing to vilify her could push Michael further away from the kind of man he wants to be. It's a sobering moment for Michael, who has spent weeks trapped in a hurricane of betrayal and doubt. But as he watches Willow help Sasha deliver a baby girl in a courtroom of all places, a moment filled with raw emotion, unfiltered grace, and unexpected tenderness, something begins to shift. He begins to realize that resolution may not come from the courtroom but from the choices they make beyond it. Sasha may have lied, but in that moment of emergency, she proved something deeper: she trusted him. She wanted him there. And for Michael, who has felt abandoned by everyone except his children, that truth begins to matter more than the deception. As Port Charles reels from one emotional blow after another, the residents are left to navigate the wreckage of choices made in fear, love, and desperation. Natalia must decide whether to surrender to Jen Sidwell's looming control or reclaim her agency at the cost of further scandal. Carly must choose whether to keep digging into Jason's role in Michael's lie or to finally accept that she can't orchestrate everyone's decisions. Drew must weigh vengeance against Willow's fragile peace. And Michael must decide whether to punish Sasha for a mistake rooted in fear, or embrace the quiet miracle of what they've created together. A daughter born not in ideal circumstances, but in a moment of unexpected grace. In a town where secrets are currency and loyalties shift like sand, these choices will have lasting consequences. And as Friday comes to a close, one thing becomes clear: nobody in Port Charles will escape the fallout unscathed.